Greg, we've been here before with Ian Scott, but just the resiliency. Can you speak on that and just what you see in him as far as that's concerned?
It's impressive every time we get here with his return, how upbeat he is, how hard he works. He always brings such a positive mood to his craft and what he's doing, and it was great to see him out there today in a team setting and competing again.
Who has he relied on that you've seen? He mentions, of course, the staff, but who have you seen that he's relied on to stay in that right frame of mind?
I would have to say himself. Getting to know him as a person, he's one of the most mentally tough people that I've experienced since I've got here, and a lot of that's just circumstance, unfortunately, for what he's gone through with his injuries. But I don't think there's any one person that you could put a finger on that has had the biggest impact in how he's handled everything other than himself and the character that he has.
Just getting his timing down today, he was saying, and what are his next steps, do you figure?
Sorry, who's that?
Ian Scott, what are his next steps?
Continuing to compete in practice and be around a lot of moving parts a lot of times in the return of the play. You're out there by yourself or one or two players, and it's very isolated. Now there's team drills where there's a lot of moving pieces, reads, possibly contact around the crease. Just getting used to that and comfortable with that and catching up to the pace of play, which has never really been an issue with him. But I'm sure it's always something that every person coming back from injury goes through.
Why has Joey Duzak been able to produce as much as he has this year?
That's a good lead question to give him positive feedback on how well he's defending. I think in a lot of these conversations, especially with the media, he's definitely an electric player that everybody gravitates towards watching because of the things he can do offensively. When everyone asks what areas he needs to get better at to help himself get to the next level, it's always the defensive side of the puck. And this year has been the best I've ever seen him in terms of how he's positioning himself around the rink. His compete level and willingness to defend throughout the game. And that's putting him in better spots offensively because we get the puck back quicker. We don't spend as much time in our D zone. And he's able to jump up and transition offensively with the play as well and create the way he does.
Has he matured at all? Like, do you see that? Like, just him maturing at all off the ice at all?
Yeah, for sure. He's one of those fiery, passionate hockey players who demands a lot of himself, which a lot of the great players in sports do that. They have high expectations of how they approach their sport. He's no exception. And I would say he's found a lot more stable emotional mindset as he's playing the game. Sometimes he can kind of derail himself with his competitiveness and getting caught up in some of the wrong things, but you can tell he's a lot more consistent, a lot more focused on how he's managing his emotions throughout and staying more focused during his shifts, between shifts, and that could be part of why he's having more success offensively.
Speaking of production, we look at Brett Seney, and we see the numbers kind of leap off the page, but is there anything else about his game that's really surprised you in your kind of first season working with him?
How hard he plays as an undersized forward. He's not afraid of contact. He finishes hits. He competes hard defensively through contact. He's an abrasive player. And when you can have all those elements and energize and bring that to the team in the lineup consistently, but then also put the puck in the net and make the plays he does, that's what makes him pretty special and very impactful for us.
He's only 25, but I would assume, and maybe I'm wrong, that like his leadership, probably having played in the league and being a bit older on a team full of young forwards, that really makes him vital too, I would think.
Yeah, if you had to ask me, without knowing, I wouldn't guess he was 25. He's very mature for his age. He definitely has a lot of leadership qualities and just professional qualities. He shows up every day to work hard. He's dialed in with how he's getting better and the expectation he puts on himself, even when it's not in a game. He's been, I don't want to say surprising, but really a pleasant addition to our roster this year.
When you look at the way Pavel Gogolev played last year and coming to this one, I'd say it's a little bit of a tougher go for him. What have you seen that are the challenges for him?
I don't think he's the only one in this situation where last year, because of COVID, a lot of the players in the league were up in the taxi squad. A lot of starting goaltenders in the American League were in the taxi squad. So as good as this league is, it was a step slower. Like this year, there's definitely a heightened sense of speed and skill, and the games at the American League level is back to what it was the year before, just given that circumstance. So for a player to come in last year for their first season, experience that, and sometimes in hindsight, just like think that was what the normal American League is. He's done a really, really good job this year of stepping up his game to the new level that he's experiencing, and like there's no question with how much skill he has with the puck. He's building out for himself the foundation of the consistent shift-to-shift compete, defensive details, physicality, game management, a lot of things that's becoming a pro, and it's actually been quite impressive how far along he's come in those details and those objectives in such a short order.
And do you, those things like coming into last year and having success, and then him not seeing that success, do you try and talk to him about that and tell him like those differences from last year and this year and how he can start to have more success?
It depends on how you define success. If you're defining success as points, maybe there's a talking point there. We think he's having a ton of success because he's playing the game the right way. He's working hard. He's finding ways to help the team win hockey games.